Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. It is the beginning of September, which means it is time to put together another scrapbooking kit for the month as part of the design team over at the Counterfeit Kit Challenge. So we will take our inspiration from this existing kit out in the world and go to our stash and build our own kit from what we already have. And this time around, we have the inspiration from the Not Just for Boys Kit Club. And this kit in particular is the Aurora Limitless Kit. And I believe it was from April of 23. I'm not quite sure. I'm seeing the date here. But at any rate, it is an older kit by at least a few months. And we're going to be inspired by this. So let's take some closer looks. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sheets of pattern paper, and I know they always show off the A and B sides. Definitely have our alphabet set. Ooh, there's some mixed media spray going on here. I definitely don't have that color, but we'll see what I can do. Lots of ephemera bits and pieces, from labels to tickets to word strips. Frames. I definitely love all of those elements. A few little kind of enamel dot style things. So let's dive in a little bit closer. All right, 8 sides of papers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, there are 8 papers. And color palette, we've got teal, a little bit of green, definitely some leaning towards the black and whites. A little bit of blue and purple. Now I just used purple last month, so I'm probably not going to do purple. However, I do have a color that I have been hoarding supplies in that I've been wanting to use, so maybe this is the month for that. And then here is the B sides of the paper, definitely more green going on, and the purples. Not as much teals and blues, but well, there's some teal. But I do like the teal idea, especially from that, let's see, let's go back here. This stripe paper and this solid paper, I like that color very much. And this brings in kind of a brownie tone, kind of a peachy brownie tone. I probably won't go there. Let's see, and then here is just the embellishments. I'm not sure there's much else I'm noticing here. Oh, except for these little elements right here. If I click to expand, these look like fabric elements that they look like they could be stitched, but it also looks like it could be like a glossy Nouveau drop style accent on there. At any rate, I think I might save those for the forgery on the 4th project, where all the crew over at the Counterfeit Kit Challenge creates our own embellishments. So I think that's where I will go with that. Going a little bit farther, more embellishments, not seeing too much different. I definitely want to include some tickets, and I've been thinking about making my own tickets for a while, so maybe now is the time to do that. And ooh, look at these little enamel dot bobbly things. They have like flecks of gold leafing in them. My brain is saying forgery, although I don't have any gold leafing. Do I go out and buy some? Who knows? Sometimes while we're supposed to shop our own supplies, we get so inspired that we shop stores too. All right, I am going to go to my stash. Let's go back to the overview. I'm going to go to my stash and pull out some things. Oh, cut file. I don't think I mentioned that. Cut file. Since I make my own cut files, I can probably do something along that line. All right, I will go to my stash, pull out some things, think about this color palette and replacing that purple with my mystery color that I'm interested in, and see if I can make that work. All right, I definitely decided to pull out that color category that I've been hoarding, which is this kind of magenta-y, plummy, leaning towards burgundy sometimes color. And I have quite a few different things going on with this similar color tone. Now, they're not all perfect and exact, so I am going to pick and choose between all of these and decide which ones I want to keep. The sheets off to the right are the ones that I am keeping, and then anything I set off to off screen, up and off screen, I'm not likely to keep, but if you can still see it, it's still a possibility. So as I'm pulling through these papers, I'm also trying to keep in mind the green and the teal that were also prominent in the inspiration kit. So I do narrow it down to those 4 sheets that have that magenta tone to it. And I pulled out a collection of greens and a collection of teals to see what I want to add in here. Now, as you can see, my teals are all different shades of teal. And that is the challenge with mixing manufacturers for any kit builder, whether it's a, just a person like me doing it, or if it's a company doing it, and you're trying to mix and match manufacturers, you're always going to have that problem of finding just the right shades. And so you just kind of do the best you can to get things to fit together. Now, as I'm looking at these greens, again, you can see I pulled out a wide range of greens from dark bluey green there in the center to this more pale green right there on front to that grid that is more of a kind of a true green. So these are the greens that I ended up picking, but you'll see that I make one change a little bit later because the next stack of paper that I have were stripes, and there were some stripes in the inspiration. So I did pull out a whole bunch, and I know not all of these are going to work. In fact, that very bold Vicky Bouton one is going to get eliminated. This more pastel-y one gets eliminated right away. This one I liked just for the teal. That was a totally blue one that goes. This minty one is going to go. This one I liked for several of the shades, but because it was an inspiration from last month, I decided not to use it. Now, I did find this plaid that has that same magenta going on with it. In fact, that moves us into some plaid selections, which were part of the inspiration. And here is where I choose that green plaid, and this Pink Fresh has a little bit of that magenta and some of the greens and teals in there, so that one will stay. And this green plaid is going to replace that darker bluey green because I thought that one was too heavy for what else I've got going on in this kit. So this feels like a good balance. And even though I was trying to keep my kit smaller this month because I have a very busy month and I'm not going to be scrapping as much, I still put way too much stuff in there. And speaking of way too much stuff, I chose way too many alphabets. I basically pulled the entire section of teal alphabets from my set. From my stash, and I included almost all of those. I did pare down just to a couple of greens, and there was also some wood grain patterned paper in the inspiration, and I'm going to focus on that in my alphas because I do have a nice collection of wood grain alphas. So that was my alphas, and here are my embellishments. Now, like I said, I've been hoarding products in this magenta color palette, including these tags, bits and pieces. So I'm just going to throw the whole stash in there, even though some of the other colors won't work. I did have a few frames and a few other little tag elements that I pulled from my stash. And while I was pulling, I did pull some tag elements that I can use with mixed media, including some photo corners and some wood bits that all kind of were inspired by the embellishments in the kit, but that I can add mixed media to because of that spray. And we'll get to that. But here is the rest of the embellishments I'm pulling. This is a Paige Evans collection. I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, Go the Scenic Route. That is the name of the collection. And it's got this magenta tone in it. What else it has in there is this foiled blue metallicness to it. And of course, that doesn't go with anything in the kit, but I'm going to make it work. And I do have a few other pieces here from that same Paige Evans collection that I'm going to add in there just to use up leftover bits. Now, I pulled way too much stuff, and for the most part, I am going to eliminate that, but you'll see me come back a little bit later with some more. Okay, so moving on to the sprays, I swatched out a whole bunch of sprays that I have because I'm starting to keep a new color swatch book, and I needed to do this anyway, so now was a good chance. And I didn't think I had a magenta in there, but I did finally find it. So in the end, I have two kind of teals, a blue with sparkles, and then that magenta spray for my mixed media. And then as I was putting away those excess embellishments, I decided to keep a few things because they were either in that magenta color family, the teal color family, or they were alterable with the mixed media spray. So those things stayed. All right, and now I have a sneak peek of just a few items that are gonna make it into my kit after my forgery on the 4th video, which comes up on the 4th. All right, so that wraps up my kit build for this month. I know there's way too much stuff in here as usual because I won't be scrapping as much. So I hope you will join me for the projects that I do have for September to share. And until then, I hope you have an artful day.